Imagine the Big Bang Theory without Jim Parsons. I bet you can't. But how many of you know that, for a number of reasons, we might have never seen Sheldon on the screen? Curious to hear all the immense struggles that Jim endured on his way to becoming one of the most popular characters in modern comedy history?
I was not going to be able to be as successful at doing what I do if I was feeling that I had to hide in any way.
First things first. What is the first thing that actors always have to get through before landing a role? Right, auditions. And believe it or not, that's exactly where Jim Parsons' first ever problems with The Big Bang Theory occurred. I bet now you cannot imagine the show without him. Even though Parsons' portrayal of Sheldon is loved by millions of fans around the globe, the actor was almost turned down initially. Bill Prady, who created the show alongside Chuck Lorre, revealed that Lorre was unsure about casting Parsons after his audition. Prady recalled that when Jim came in, he was Sheldon on another level. Bill said, there were people who came in and you went, okay, well, he's kind of okay. Oh, he's pretty good. Maybe he's the guy. And Jim came in and he was just, from that audition, he was the Sheldon that you saw on television. Basically, Jim created his future character perfectly at that audition. And once he left the room, Prady literally yelled a couple of times in excitement, "That's the guy!" But Chuck was not as impressed and said, "Nah, he's gonna break your heart. He'll never give you that performance again." However, this disagreement was the only time Lorre's instincts were wrong. And in the end, the whole world got to see Jim in the role of Sheldon. And personally, we couldn't be happier that this decision created one of the most popular characters in modern comedy history. Recalling his own audition experience, Jim mentioned it was pretty challenging. He commented, "I remember spending a lot of time memorizing because it was probably the wordiest audition I've ever gone in on. Any humor was not going to be funny if I was struggling with these words, many of which I didn't know and weren't easy to say." I bet back in the day, Jim had absolutely no idea exactly how many incredibly challenging words he'd have to learn throughout the following years, and he certainly didn't realize how many takes some would require. First, screwed up takes. The Big Bang Theory is indeed a pretty complicated show for actors to work on, and with all those scientific terms and complicated phrases, a lot of takes were being screwed up, and those became a real difficulty for Jim too, since he did not have a background in science. So, once Parsons realized that he couldn't handle redoing the same scenes over and over again so many times, he decided to come up with his own approach to learning his lines, flashcards that were always with him.
And I pace around my house and I drill them like some sort of ballet dancer learning moves, largely because I don't understand a lot of what I'm talking about.
So Jim figured he needed brain muscle memory to remember exactly what was written in the line, because basically there was no chance of improvising or replacing a word in a precise scientific monologue.
I don't want to be joined to another object by an inclined plane wrapped helically around an axis.
In what way are you screwed?
In the end, no matter how difficult the lines were, Jim always ended up succeeding in filming them. And we got lucky enough to see all of the best hilarious Sheldon scenes. However, scientific terminology was not the only difficulty Parsons faced on set for the first time in his career, and some of those were much more challenging for him. First, fluffy struggle. All the fans know that Sheldon had a lot of whims and weird habits. However, everyone was really shocked when the typically animal-averse scientist adopted numerous cats.
Hey. Oh no. Robert Oppenheimer was lonely.
That episode was indeed hilarious for everyone, except for, Jim Parsons. Those cats became his first ever real physical struggle on set. Very early on in Big Bang, the production team was tossing around an idea for a script and they randomly came up to Jim and asked if he was allergic to cats. And guess what? Of course he was. Parsons recalled, about a week later, the script showed up with a box of Claritin and it was like, "Here, we're going to do one where you're surrounded by cats the whole episode." So yes, the showrunners ignored his allergies and ended up filming the whole episode with cats. Luckily, with the help of medication, Jim managed to get through the episode without having a terrible allergic reaction.
Surprise. Mom, what an unexpected pleasure.
But it definitely wasn't very fun for the actor to join the show and almost immediately face such challenges. However, Parsons did a great job, and once again proved to everyone what a true professional he was. Sure, allergy meds can help one fight cat fur on set, but what about fighting your own embarrassment and shyness when the scenes get kinda spicy? Romance is always awkward. Do you know what can be even more intimidating than any other first time on set? Right. first kiss, and first sex scene. I guess those firsts always make everyone kinda nervous. It was a long and pretty slow-moving process, but Sheldon and Amy's relationship made great progress over the years, which meant eventually it was time for the actors to get a bit less shy. And on the Valentine's Day train trip in season 7, Amy got fed up and requested romance.
Deserve romance, and I didn't know how else to make it happen.
And finally, after 4 seasons of those two being acquainted, fans finally got to see them kiss.
So kissing's romantic.
Believe it or not, even though Parsons and Bialik had already been working together for years before that scene was filmed, the two of them made a huge deal out of it. And like the characters, both actors got kinda shy and awkward. Bialik, similarly to millions of TBBT fans, recalled the very much delayed move as really sweet. However, in the moment of filming the scene, everything was far less romantic. She remembered that Jim had a terrible flu, was literally sweating, had a fever, and felt very, very sick. Parsons at the same time recalled, "My M kept swishing around with Listerine or whatever to kill my germs." So yes, the first ever kiss on set was pretty much uncomfortable for both of them. But now try and guess what was even more confusing. I bet you know exactly what's coming next.
Then it's settled. Amy's birthday present will be my genitals.
Yes, their first ever coitus scene, as TBBT characters would say.
Well, I enjoyed that more than I thought I would.
For both actors, the news that they were going to film that kind of scene was really unexpected and confusing.
The coitus episode, neither Jim nor I we didn't think that was happening now.
So when Mayim read the script, she was a bit shocked and nervous. A bit later, she crossed paths with Jim in the hallway and immediately confronted him.
I was going down to perform a scene, and she said, "Did you read the next episode?"
Didn't take Jim long to realize what was going on there.
I just turned back to her in the dark of the set and went, "What do we, you know?"
Yes, even though the scene turned out to be, let's say, not as intimate as it possibly could have been, it still didn't make the actors any less apprehensive and nervous.
I had the same reaction that I just had.
Yes.
And then
I was like, "What? What?"
we just, I think it was.
We didn't see it coming.
We did not.
No pun intended.
And since they never saw it coming, they were pretty much not prepared to shoot. This duo was already very well known for their endless, uncontrollable laughter on set and inability to pull themselves together throughout multiple takes.
Stop it, Mayim. You control yourself. What the hell's the matter with you?
And as you might have correctly assumed, filming the sex scene was no exception. It just took the cracking up and weirdness to a whole new level. They laughed a lot and had to do multiple takes until they finally did it. But while on screen, Sheldon overcame his awkwardness about intimacy and finally found his way with Amy, Jim's real-life relationships were a much bigger struggle. The fear of coming out. Today, Jim Parsons is an openly gay man, happily married to his partner of 20 years. They're not afraid to be together in public and be seen by a huge audience. However, that wasn't always the case. Starting from Jim's childhood, he had a lot of struggles while growing up in Houston, with the fear of being discovered as being gay. He even shared that he was absolutely terrified of being near pride parades and communities. The sight of pride parades frightened me, because I knew there were plenty of people around me, whether they were in my life or I just was aware of them, that derided this show of pride. And this fear followed him into adulthood. Even after he'd moved to NYC, he made it a rule to avoid gay-friendly neighborhoods. After Jim received huge fame for the role in TBBT, he was even more scared of coming out as a celebrity. He shared that the television industry is not perfect and still functions with implicit bias, which made him hide his own sexuality. Parsons was convinced that coming out could have ruined his career and would impact the Big Bang Theory's reputation. He shared with The Hollywood Reporter, "So I was scared. I wasn't scared about losing my job, and I wasn't scared to the point of denying my sexuality. But I was scared enough to make it my mission not to talk about it. I was scared enough to be nervous the first time I was even nominated for the Emmy." Because of those fears, Jim Parsons didn't publicly come out as gay until 2012. And surprisingly for him, after he did, it even helped him become a better actor. He started feeling like he was part of the community, confidently embracing his sexuality. If you enjoyed getting a bit nostalgic with us, go watch our TBBT behind the scenes struggles and dramas revealed video. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, stay awesome.